it's all fine talking about being more commercial in HR. It absolutely is, and we should all be doing it. But what you do need to do is make sure that you get your priorities right and you get the day job right first. So when I implemented Style Studio at River Island, so I'd been in the business 2 years at that point, there wouldn't have been a hope at all of me being able to do that had the HR function not been in a position where it had trust and confidence, as I had the trust and confidence of my CEO. You have to do, if you're, regardless of what position you're in, what job you're doing, if you want to have a bigger commercial impact, you need to get your day job and get your priorities right first. So you don't want to be the person that drops the tyre, so to speak. And one of the ways that we did that at River Island was we implemented Agile methodology within HR. And it's something that I also deploy on a personal basis as well. And if you're not too familiar with Agile, I mean, really there are some key principles from it that I'm going to bring out for the purpose of today. And that is, in essence, what you're going to do is you prioritise a backlog of work in order of commercial impact. You limit the amount of things that you work on in any one time. And you release usable products to the business often. So let me just think about this. So, quick test. Do you also have some mechanism that you manage your day-to-day activity? Do you have a to-do list? Do you manage it digitally? Have you got some, how do you know what you're supposed to be working on? Do you have some kind of backlog of work? So if that's a to-do list, put your hands up if you've got a to-do list. Okay. Can one brave person tell me how many things they've got on that to-do list?
9.
9. Who said 9? Great, thank you. Right, that to-do list, how many of those 9 are you working on at the same time?
10.
Okay. The thing at the top of that to-do list, is it the thing that's going to have the biggest commercial impact on your business?
No, it's not in any order.
Okay, right.
Looking at it,
Yeah. And you're not alone. This is a very, very consistent thing to do. So a very easy technique, you can go away and do this now, you can do it today. If you have some mechanism for planning your day, whether it's a to-do list or whether you use Trello, whatever it is, look at how many things you've got on that to-do list. Make sure that it's in the order of the biggest commercial impact. The thing that has the biggest commercial impact is at the top of that list. And then I'm going to say, just work on a maximum of 3 things at any one time. Okay? So you can have things in discovery phase, but actually focus your work on getting that thing done that's at the top of the list. If it gets blocked, fine, it sits in blocked, and then you bring something else into play. But in order to deliver more results more quickly, you need to really narrow your focus here and make sure you're targeting it in the right way. Okay. At this point on releasing usable products often, think about this in the context if you were developing something like a leadership development program. Instead of working for months behind the scenes, developing this program that's going to add value to the business, 6 months down the line, and then you launch it and it's out of date and half the people have left. Forget that. Do something, see what you can achieve in 2 weeks. What could you feasibly deliver in 2 weeks or 4 weeks that would be of use to improving skills in that area? Work on that, do that, release it to the business so the business gets the commercial value more quickly. Okay? So what's next? If you bring all these things together, what can be possible? At River Island, I introduced Style Studio, this commercial styling business. Now, I'm not going to say that it was easy. It probably took me about 6 months of negotiation with the CEO to get it off the ground and answer various questions. But in essence, the key to this was it started off with networking, which is the point I mentioned earlier. And also knowing your business. If I didn't know the business that I worked in, I wouldn't have been able to do this. If I wasn't passionate about the industry that I worked in, I wouldn't have been able to do this. When all of these things come together, anything is possible. And in the case of this, I saw an opportunity. I spent a lot of time in retail stores. I like retail. I felt I had an affinity with the customers. You know, I spent a lot of time talking to people working in the shops. I spent a lot of time talking to people who worked in merchandising and buying. And I made sure that I knew the business. And in doing that, I saw that there was a gap here and an opportunity to bring a service to customers that they would love and that would also bring the business more revenue. So then I started to test the idea. So I identified themes and opportunities through this overview of the entire business that I'd built. I then started to test the idea with some key stakeholders within the business, just floating the idea. What do you think about this? At that point, I started to pick up on the resistances or any blockers that people perceive with this. So that's a great idea, but, And I'd worked through quite a lot of those actually before I got to the point of talking to the CEO. And then I presented it to the CEO, he knocked it back, learnt from that, figured out what was blocking him, and then went back and repositioned, did the whole cycle again, repositioned it. And this backwards and forwards went on for a little while. Eventually, all this helped me develop the business case. I've worked with partners in finance, in marketing, in visual merchandising, to start to bring this whole thing together. And then finally it got to the point where the CEO said, okay, you can do it. And then I had to really do it, because I put my neck on the line to the point of saying, I've been talking to you about this for 6 months, and now I actually needed to man up and do the job. And that involved taking a significant piece of floor space off one of our stores on Oxford Street. So the pressure started to ramp up, because you're taking prime retail space in London to deliver something. I'm pleased to say it worked, and it now operates in 3 stores, and that first location took over $1 million in sales in its first year. So it works. Okay. And yes. So this is the secret to making it work. You need to find something that makes you feel a little bit like this. Okay, you need to, if you want to really make an impact commercially, you've got to find something that makes you feel as engaged and inspired as that kind of feeling. So there's something inside of you that if you unlock it, you're going to feel like that. And if you can unlock that feeling, and if you can unlock that feeling in the people that work for you, anything is possible. Okay, however, maybe a little bit of this as well. Okay, more of that perhaps, because it's not easy, and you will get knockbacks. I lost count of the amount of things that I got knocked back on, but I didn't give up, because I felt so passionately about it, and because I'd done my research and I knew it was the right thing to do. I knew there was a market, and because of all the investment that I put in getting to that point. But you do get knockbacks, and that's why it's also important, so if you're going to do something like this, to pick an idea that you are prepared to fight for, because it takes time, it's going to drain energy away from you. Pick something that you feel passionate about, and that you're prepared that if you get a knockback, or if somebody knocks you down, you're going to get back up and fight for it, because you believe it's the right thing to do.